Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Kathy Schmitt from the CESA 6 Literacy Center. Welcome to our first of 2 daily webinars. I hope you will join me this afternoon. I'll be talking about supporting writers at home at 2 o'clock today for the primary grades. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 2 things. We're going to walk through the slideshow a little bit. I'm going to show you some websites. And then I'm going to show you a Google Doc folder that everyone who registers for this now or in the future from the recording can get access to. And it's going to be filled with, continually filled with resources from the entire Literacy Center department. On the back end, as you record questions, please feel free to do so. I have Amy from our department listening in as well, and Amy is going to take the questions. She's communicating with me from her office space today. We're all separated in our own, at the agency or in our homes, staying safe, and she'll let me know, giving me patterns of questions, and then specific questions for Q&A. She's going to log those, and then in the folder, the Google folder that we're sharing with you is where you can continue to add questions, find answers to your questions that aren't addressed during this live time, as well as continue to add questions to that because Amy and I will be checking that daily. Okay, so here we go. Today's topics are about, we're going to go over 4 things. I'm going to show you some free online books for your primary readers. I'm going to talk to you about the kind of reading volume that's really going to be key, especially now, to really support the continued development and engagement of your primary readers. And then I'm going to give you some grade-specific ideas that are in our folders. And then I'll also let you know where you can get the Google Doc that has links to everything I'm showing you here. I thought this quote by Mason Cooley is especially timing for today. I love it. Reading gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are. Okay, so the first one I want to share with you is if your primary readers have access to anything online, you can support your readers by letting parents know about Pioneer Valley. Because the way they set up for their customers who are shopping is you always have free online reading of all of their leveled books. These are high quality leveled books. Jan Richardson has done a lot of guiding in the development of the books, as well as many other high experts. These are at the top shelf of high quality leveled books. I just love them. Another one, something special that they have that's usually not free is something called Book Builder. And this is where your readers can build their own books and personalize them with the characters' names. And they've opened up a portion of that website to be free. I'm going to show you that. Another one, Reading A to Z, has now opened up for 14 days where parents can go in and easily go in and get some books from A to Z. Those are leveled books as well. And you know, all of these books, if your readers have online, there isn't really a need to print them out, and because you can just enlarge the screen and they can read them right on the screen. And then this is a new one for me, American Reading at Home. This came by and I checked it out, and they're offering you 12 free ebooks just for creating an account. So this is another place to get 12 ebooks. And the free books are attached to every email. So if there's more than one parent or caregiver in a home with an email address, then every email address equals 12 free books. So I'm going to pull out of here. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to start sharing my other screen so I can show you the websites. Okay, so I'm hoping you can see my screen. Amy, let me know if you can see it. I'm going to go forward. So here's Pioneer Valley. And again, you're going to get the link, but I just want to show you how this works. So once you click on the link from our Google Doc, you can go into books. I just go right into books. You don't need to set up an account or anything. And then once we get to a collection, I just click on any collection. And then you have access over here to all of the leveled text. And when you say show more, you get all of the options A to Z. But we're with primary readers, so I'll just go into level E. And then what happens is once you click on a book, I'll go into and show you what a traditional tale looks like. You want to scroll down to in the collection where you're going to see the title of the book. And once you click on that title, any one title, over here it says read online. And then you can just enlarge your screen and go ahead and read the leveled text. The one bummer about it is that there's going to be some light preview only across the pages, but you get just an abundance of high quality leveled books for your readers. All right, the next one is inside of, and I'm having problems here. I'm having problems with the web bar, and there we go. Okay, so when you go to Welcome to Book Builder Online, you will have to register. But then again, I just wanted to show you how this works. So you go in and you can pick a level. Here's a level F book. When you say build this book, it'll ask you for whether you want the book in color, black and white, or without pictures. We want color with pictures. So you can put in, here it's asking for a teacher's name. So I'll put my name in, and then we'll put in a student's name. And then once you say build book, you end up with another high quality level text where the names are in there. There's Mrs. Schmitt's name, and down here, here's Brinley's name. So that's pretty cool. You can do that for a limited time. And then another one is reading A to Z. Now they're letting you do this, let parents have a 12-day access. And I just want to show you how this works. And again, once you click on it, it'll take you to the right page. But then inside, here's what you can do is you can find a book that you want to read by finding a level. And once you go in to find the level, you can add it to your filing cabinet. If you like the book, I'll show you the quality of the books that are here. Get to skim through the whole thing. And again, you don't have to because you can just read it online. But then you just put it into your file cabinet, and your file cabinet, once you click on that, is going to show you all of the books that you have in there. All right, and the last one that I want to show you today is from American Reading at Home. They'll populate your bookshelf with 12 books, and the option is for both English and Spanish. So I'll show you the quality of these books. And again, once you can read them online or you can print them. Nice spacing, great photos. The font is great, just real high quality. So that concludes the part where I wanted to talk to you about the free resources for the books. And now what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about, and I'm going to stop sharing and make sure I'm sharing with you my PowerPoint again. Here we go. What I want to do is talk to you about how important the volume of reading is. So when we look at the research put out by by Anderson, from Reading Research Quarterly, this is where we got the notion inside of all of our reading programs is to have a goal of at least 30 minutes a day, because they found that students who read 30 minutes a day on standardized tests, they are the ones performing at the 90th percentile. And just look at the number of words per year that they are exposed to. So think about that. It's minutes per day. And here we're looking at words per day, or the words as well. So we also have to be thinking about not just time, but volume of books. It's about the number of titles across that's going to give them exposure to that many words. Repeated readings in the primary grades is great. That helps build fluency and just really consolidates their whole reading process. But we have to have them also having a volume of books to get exposed to those words per year. And so in our time where they're reading at home, 30 minutes is going to be tricky to do at one time. So maybe we could set up and support our parents in setting up that they designate 3 10-minute times a day. And again, it's about time, making sure that that's engaged time so that they're encountering the number of words across many, many texts. And so what is many, many texts? This is put out by both Ohio State University, Lesley University, as well as the work of Lucy Calkins at Columbia University. So theirs starts at that level JK. In their recommendations. And what our literacy team did is we looked at the kind of volume of reading that's in place at kindergarten and first grade in schools where they have an hour of a reading block where they are allowed to and able to sustain in that 30 minutes of reading. So what's the number of books, titles that kids are reading per week? And it's 10 to 14 at those levels A through F and 10 to 12 G through I. So really having our kids have access to online titles to get this volume and keep that going is going to be really critical. I believe that our strategy of being voracious readers for 30 minutes a day across many, many titles is going to be one of the key strategies to continuing the reading achievement. Now what I want to do is I want to take Fontes and Pinnell's wheel. This represents their model of the reading process. And they talk about the systems of strategic actions, and each of the pie pieces represents those systems. To look at it closer in the Google Doc, I'll have a blown up one on a Google Doc so you can study it more closely. But basically then all of the strategic actions can be divided into are clumped into 3 categories. We want every day for our readers to be thinking within the text, and that includes that we want them to be practicing and getting proficient in an effective way to search for and use all of their information sources, the meaning, the structure, the phonological information, the visual information. We want them to be monitoring, self-correcting, solving words, maintaining fluency, adjusting as they go along, and then summarizing along the way. And then we also want them to be thinking beyond the text, going beyond the literal, and we want them to do some inferring, synthesizing, connecting, and predicting. But we also want them to be thinking about the text, so we want them to be critiquing and analyzing. Today, I'm going to give you activities that support our readers thinking within the text and thinking beyond the text. So in the folder, one of the first things that we can do, there'll be support for them, and this is a good activity for anyone, any of our readers in grades K through 2, second grade, is we want to show them now, especially when they're at home, how to develop their own word learning system. So it's about these 2 things, giving them a strategy so that they know how to, or teach them that in the books that they're reading, what's a word that they're hearing on many, many pages across that book, and then have them flip through the book and see if their eyes can quickly find it and they can point to it. This is a technique developed by Mari Clay, used by reading recovery teachers. And in her research, she says that the development of sight words comes most quickly when we are asking our readers to scan for a specific word in continuous text. And so we first want them to do that when the book is familiar, and then we want them to do it when it's less familiar as well as new. And then another thing that they can do is, as they're reusing that book to scan and point or even count how many times does the word appear in a book, then we can ask them to write in the or directly from the book. They can use that look, say, cover, write, and check method, where they're looking at the word and studying in every detail, saying the word. Then we want them to have maybe a sticky note or put their hand over or a card over the word in the book. We want them to write it on a piece of scrap paper. And then we want them to check how they spelt it letter by letter or chunk by chunk against the model in the book. And so those two activities is helping them with 3 ways of thinking within the text. It's helping teaching them how to search for and use their known words. It's then having them be cognizant and aware that that word is in the text, and that every time that they reread it, now that they know it, they should be monitoring and noticing that it's there and using it as a known word. It's also supporting them in developing the strategy of solving using their known word bank. And again, the more words they know, they are able to maintain fluency because they're not doing so much solving of words along the way. Then the last technique that I want to give you around or activity to consider for your students is summarizing. So here's some quick activities that your kiddos can do at home if they're in kindergarten or reading between text levels A and D, is simply ask them to list across their fingers what the character did. And then a second one to start getting into story arc is have them practice saying what did the character do at the beginning of the story and what did the character do at the end of the story. And then summarizing at first through, in first grade levels D through I, we want them to be practicing summarizing using in the beginning of the story, in the middle of the story, and at the end of the story. Now, again, for all of these activities that I'm suggesting, there's support resources in the Google Doc to send home with your parent, right to your parents. And a last, for our second graders then, or readers who are in levels, text levels I through M, a simple somebody wanted but so sheet is in there to help them summarize the complete story arc. Moving on to the fluency piece, right? If we, this is great for kindergartners through second grade. I have a template in there in the Google folder where they can take a template of a character, personalize it by coloring and turning it into the character from the book. And then they could use the puppets to engage in readers' theater. And this finger puppets help support phrasing and intonation, as well as to really get it right and be theatrical. They really have to think through and infer the mood of the character and the tone of the story. All right, now, so that last one was helping, finger puppets helps thinking within the text and it helps thinking beyond the text. Another activity that I have in there is to have students think about one part of the story and retell it or add more dialogue to it. So what they would do is they would simply use think bubbles or speech bubbles and say more about what the characters might say back and forth to each other from one page. And that's really getting them to infer what's going on within the character as well as between the characters. So, you know, we're at a place, teachers, where we are living one day at a time. But I want to let you know that at the Literacy Center, we're going to be offering you support 1 week at a time. I want to take you now to our folder. So I'm going to stop sharing and then reshare just the Let me see here. It's not letting me out. Please. Okay. I want to reshare then my screen, and let me find that share button so we can go into the Google Doc folder. This will work. And what I want you to see is the folder that you'll have access to. So, whoops, here's the folder. So a folder will be shared with you. The folder is called Literacy Plans and Resources for Districts. And in there, all of the webinars that we'll be doing for the primary grades will be in here. Today's webinar, you can see here is the Bubbles and Clouds worksheet is in here, the finger puppets, the Somebody Wanted But So. Here's all of your online resources and that I shared. And then in addition to that, you can pop out of the primary webinar and you can go right into your grade level. And so this is what we offered last Friday. Every Friday at noon, visit the folder because there'll be new resources in here. So you can see that we have for this week, we had writing about reading. And so there's some activities in there for what they can do after they read their own book. It's something that they can fill out and quick do a writing about reading. And then you can see I've already populated for next week. We're focusing on nonfiction, and they're doing, I offer you a template book to guide your primary kindergarten writers through developing their own how-to story. I'll be talking more about how to support that with the backhand part. What are some resources with that for, what are the resources to front load before they go ahead and write this afternoon at 2 o'clock, and I hope that you enjoy, or I hope that you join me. So thank you for joining us and participating in our very first webinar, as well as my first ever live webinar. And I hope you come back and visit with us each day. We're going to be here. Somebody from our agency will be here every morning at 9 a.m. and every afternoon at 2. And in between, be safe, be well, and thank you, teachers, for all that you're doing for your students. We will work through this together, and it's all going to be okay, and our kids are going to be okay. And I thank you for your dedication and your compassion. Take care.